Yeah.
Well, it wasn't the devil inside the plane.
Oh,
it was
I
the
see.
devil controlling the aircraft.
Now, this information comes from the highly reputable echoesofenoch.com.
Yeah.
And it's a site that specializes in biblical research of the paranormal.
Yeah, and the man who runs the site, Jim Wilhelms, actually moved himself and his wife to Roswell from Detroit in 2003, following, quote,
A calling from the Lord to stand in the gap from one of the biggest lies to come against the faith in a personal God since before the flood.
Also, Detroit is not doing well.
No.
Good
Is-
city to get
No,
out of.
is the wife there voluntarily or is she a hostage?
Right. Good question.
Nonetheless, Wilhelms has managed to find a passage in the Bible that he believes with all his heart is directly related to the Roswell incident. Again, this is an abridged version, but it is from Zechariah chapter 5, verses 1 through 11. Then I turned and raised my eyes and saw there was a flying scroll, and he said to me,
What do you see?
so I answered, I see a flying scroll. Then the angel who talked with me came out and said to me,
Lift your eyes now and see what this is that goes forward.
so I asked, what is it? And he said,
It is the basket that is going forward.
and he also said,
This is their resemblance throughout the earth. Here is a lead disc lifted up, and this is a woman sitting inside the basket.
then he said,
This is wickedness.
and he thrust her down into the basket
It's wickedness.
and threw the lead cover over its mouth. Then I raised my eyes and looked, and there were two women coming with the wind in their wings.
Wickedness.
For they had wings like the wings of a stork, and they lifted up the basket between earth and heaven. So I said to the angel who talked with me, where are they carrying the basket? And he said to me,
To build a house for it in the land of Shinar. When it is ready, the basket will be set there on its base.
I mean, it just sounds like they used to write down night terrors, and then it became the Bible.
What does all this mean, though?
Nothing. That is. How is anybody religious?
There's a woman in a basket.
There's a woman in a basket.
And somebody dropped a newspaper in front of a fan.
It's a balloon. It's a balloon.
She's got stork wings.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And as the final word of proof, Wilhelm presented a single line from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 10, verse 17. I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven.
Very cool.
That's double bass.
Oh my god.
Svar, I gotta say, bro, I love your solo in the bottomless pit of Maul, but I gotta say, can we cool it on some of the double bass? He's like, but I just got this double bass, man. Roswell.
Oh my goodness.
Something happened.
Yeah.
What it was?
Right.
You tell me.
You tell me.
Yes.
That's what people have been asking me for the last, 3 weeks, a month. They're like, so what's the next episode? Like, fucking Roswell, man. They're like, so what do you think happened?
Shut up.
Like, and
Yeah.
You try. It's literally been consuming my life.
Yeah.
The last 2 weeks. All I've been doing is reading and watching Roswell.
yeah.
I think it's a balloon.
You think it's a balloon?
I think it's a balloon. Why the hell not?
You know, my thing is, I don't think that it's balloon, but I think that it's a balloon to somebody. You know what I mean?
What is a balloon exactly?
I don't think
Let's
it's
change
yeah.
it around.
What's a balloon?
If it's not a balloon to us, it's a balloon to them.
Yeah,
you know what I
that's
mean?
true.
If
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
aliens, just probably being like, I wish we hadn't lost that taco truck in Roswell last week. You know what I mean? Like that's all they could. They don't know what it is.
yeah.
Right.
But I also believe there is something too. There's a book I'm reading right now. If you want to know everything there is to know about modern UFOs, in one book, it's this book, and it's very interesting. It's if you are a person like me whose whole life has been marred and destroyed by your UFO knowledge, it's a lot of stuff that you already know, but it's very useful, and it puts it all in one place. But the one thing he kind of talks about is the nature of UFOs. It's very interesting, and the idea of them being either natural or handmade, and whether or not that is mechanical or animal. And what we're looking at for UFOs, a lot of the times, that if they are interdimensional crafts, if they are something from another realm entirely, they can be something that we can never understand. Like literally something like a natural machine, like a machine that is alive, that it's a UFO thing that literally, the UFOs themselves are alive and they can come through,
Right.
and there's another type of entity altogether. So yeah, maybe it crashed, and maybe it had a fucking heart attack. Maybe the thing was alive and
All
had
right.
had a fucking brain aneurysm,
I
and it
think-
died in the middle of a goddamn desert because that's where a lot of old people fucking die.
We've
They
reached
die
the
in middle
max.
of a goddamn-
Henry, we're losing you. Henry,
I
come
just
back.
get-
Henry, put the book down just for a second. Okay.
Psychedelic nature to
Yes.
aliens.
Yes.
Difficult to put your finger on.
I think for right now we have reached our limit
I think
of
we have.
alien conversation. Henry, we have to keep you alive.
Oh, I'm bringing this book on the plane I'm about to go.
Don't start yelling.
Walk with me, Laura Jackson, on my Passeggiato podcast episode, an Italian ritual the Italians have always walked. Not a walk to any destination or for any reason, but simply just a walk. A walk where we live and where we love, where we get together, where we wonder. A walk to appreciate the little things we may often take for granted. Walk with us. Listen to the Peroni podcast series, Peroni Italia, Vita con Stile. For the facts, visit drinkaware.co.uk.
I wash my hands to protect my family.
I wear a face covering to protect my mates.
I make space to protect my colleagues.
Hands.
Face.
Space.
I wash my hands to protect strangers.
I wear a face covering to protect other passengers.
I make space to protect you. Hands.
Face.
Space.
As we spend more time indoors, we need to do whatever we can to help protect each other from coronavirus. So please, wash hands, cover face, make space.
There's no place to escape to.
This is the last podcast.
On the left. That's when the cannibalism started.
What was that?
Do you feel like still kind of sick and hungover
From
this
Comic-Con?
weekend?
Yeah, San Diego, man. I did not realize. Wonderful people, great drinkers, and then we just did a lot of that.
You made them great drinkers, though. You brought a bunch of people
Oh,
to a
man.
bar and then were
Dude.
like forcing beer on them. You have a
I didn't
fucking-
force beer on them. We had our beers. Do you know where I was?
Where?
The bar was called Top Gun. It was where they shot the final scene of the movie Top Gun, where the lady walks in and then Tom Cruise looks her way, and then that's how you know they're in love. So it was a bastion of love.
Doesn't Tom Cruise, doesn't the NC, tell me if I'm wrong or not, doesn't he make her hold a banana between her knees and say, just call yourself Bill?
I don't know about all that. This is Side Stories, everyone. I am Ben Kissel. There is Henry Zabrowski with a brand new, dare I say, Timothy McVeigh-esque brush cut. Nice haircut.
That's interesting that you say that. It's you say this as if the majority of my hair is on the top of my head,
Yeah.
but it is not.
Oh.
What it is that it's just been shaved on the sides. I'm trying to slowly but surely get used to what my skull looks like. And what this will be, because eventually
I
I
see.
will be bald, and I can't be one of those motherfuckers that's somewhere in the tail end of having hair that has just like that poof on the front of it, so I look like
You know,
Tintin.
man, I gotta say, I think it's kind of cute, though. You got the little poof, you're holding on, you're letting people know you once had hair, and I think it's kind of fun.
I talked with the woman cutting my hair, who is wonderful, and what she said to me was that the whole thing is to never show like you're pretending to have hair. Like, don't hide that you're balding. Sort of just like you have to sadly embrace it, like my father does when I see him, where he embraces me even though he disagrees with my entire lifestyle.
Well, there it is. Yes, going back really quick, San Diego, the Comic-Con Adult Swim shows were so great. We sold out the Balboa Theater, and that was awesome. Everyone was so
Yes.
unbelievably nice. And,
Yes.
man, we talked about this a little bit up top during the live show at Balboa Theater. Woo! The odor of that convention center after a couple of days, a lot of people sweating in suits, a lot of individuals who, sweating semen. It was an interesting, pungent smell.
It definitely was a stiff pant like smell
Yeah.
that came from men. I'm going to just go and blame the men because
Sure.
they only really bring one cosplay outfit.
Right.
Women, I think, know more, so they bring multiples and they kind of change in and out. But like this dude, like most of these guys that got one, they rock the entire time. And it just gets grungy real fast.
Yeah.
And you're just pressed pubic mound to pubic mound in that convention center. You are in an intimate space with these people.
Really are, man. It was kind of horrifying.
do get overwhelmed a little bit, but what I do like is that it's honestly a very friendly atmosphere. Comic-Con, the SDCC, though, is specifically way more of an industrial con. When I went to C2E2 in Chicago, it's way more like traditional nerd festival.
Well, I honestly no idea what these acronyms. I know the Comic-Con one in San Diego. What's CTD2?
C2E2, which is that's a comic convention and video games and nerd culture in Chicago, and also Dragon Con in Atlanta. If you ever have a fucking chance to go to Dragon Con in Atlanta, it is a nerd fuck fest.
All right.
It is just nude women writhing with the luckiest men smiling. The costumes are great, and it's really just about nerd culture and not about all the movie industry tie-ins like SDCC does.
What are the dragons up to? They're just hanging out? We're going to start going to, Brooke and I are going to start going to Ren fairs. So look out for that.
Why do you want to do this?
I don't know.
You're just going to change your lifestyle? That's a new lifestyle, dude.
Because no, I can go to a Ren fair. It's just one. It's a weekend.
I will say, I was trying to buy a corset for Natalie. That is a part of the Ren Fair lifestyle that you must embrace.
Of course.
It's nice because then you get to go corset shopping, and I can just pick whatever my grubby, nerdy hands wants to put on to Natalie for me to see. So that's fun, but you're going to be a troll there. They're going to give you a big club, and there's going to be a bunch of little fuckers dressed as knights trying to fell you.
How is that different? How is that different than my normal life? I'm going to fit in so well there. You know that you traveled around with me for years. Just constantly people be like, big guy, huh? Big guy, you think you're a big guy? I'll take you as your niece.
I finally had to make a stance. There was that one woman, I think that was that final contact. It was during the VIP meet and greet at the Balboa in San Diego, where someone said something about how, like, you're the biggest boy in the whole world. And I was like, seriously, he's going to fucking throw himself off a building. Please stop talking about his size.
I mean, the sad
just let
thing
him
is,
go.
If I do that, then I'm just going to land on my feet, and I'll be just fine. That's a tall joke. No, we love you guys. That meet and greet was so sweet. All right. Well, Henry, the first little tidbit, little story that I wanted to get to you, basically, this is for you, July 18th, 3 days before my day of birth. This was in China. There was an eyewitness. China, beautiful place. I've heard great
Beautiful place, absolutely incredible place, tremendous place.
Tremendous place, great place to have a trade war. In no way we're going to lose that. An eyewitness caught a UFO over China last week, and if you want to see this, go to UFO Sightings Daily, and I just want to hear your perspective. This guy, Bob Laser, said the smaller craft he worked on in Area S4 inside Area 51 had 3 main engines that glowed at certain times. Reminds me of the sighting over the Chinese airport years ago that shut down the airport, and it looks a lot like the UFO that was spotted again July 18th in China. So what are we looking at here? Because you saw the video.
Kissel, first of all, you've mentioned Bob Lazar, who is a problematic figure in UFO culture. Well, in terms of that, he's also weirdly religious, and there's many people, like everybody in UFO culture. That is the one thing I will say.
Being religious isn't problematic.
I'm not saying religious. It's just the other side. He's an esoteric man that has been lambasted for many sides of the argument, which I always love, because there's no universally accepted figure in the UFO world.
Sure, but first of all, it's Lazar. Why not just go to Laser? Laser is so much more fun than Lazar. Lazar sounds like a lazy slug or something.
Laser makes you sound like a female gladiator.
Yeah. Who doesn't want to be? Yeah.
No, you're a UFO investigator. Technically, you're trying to get people to say that you're serious and that you want to be taken seriously. So you go by Lazar.
I don't know if that's the case. If you're a UFO investigator because you want to be taken seriously, that kind of,
buddy.
I'm not sure. Yeah,
wait till I fucking make the shift. Wait till I can finally shuck off all this comedy bullshit and finally just leave the grid and be able to go after my true pursuits, which is what is the true root and nature of knowledge.
Well, put on the cap. You saw the video. What were we looking at there?
It's very compelling. I looked at it, and honestly, the way it goes, bleep, 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 like if you see it, it is pretty big, thick orbs in the sky. And
orbs in the sky.
They definitely go blink, blink, which is cool, and not like in a rhythmic blink, blink, like it wasn't like airplane lights. It was like a blink, oop, blink, which I think is interesting. And it does pop in and out of clouds. You see it dematerialize. Whatever you want to say about it, it's probably some form of plasma.
Okay.
I would say, again, it's a really good example of M&M technology. It's a fairy light, as you would probably call it from back in the day. But that's spelled Faerie.
Okay.
Fairy light. So it was something that's very interesting. It's a very common orb, but I will say, very compelling, good footage. Them Chinese cameras, man.
Great stuff. Great stuff. All right, so we do have a recent UFO sighting.
Yes, and I do want to also bring up, my friend Ellie from Oregon sent me this very fun story about the kind of a mixture of that. There was a radio program called American Family Radio hosted by Jeanette Mefford and a guy named Tim Daly. And it's like, I guess he's from the Family Research Council.
Oh,
so when he says Family Research Council, it means he's researching his children with his cock, right? Is that what that means?
Honestly, man, that's a blue joke, but you know what? Anything goes. That's Tony Perkins, these really far right-wing evangelicals. They're all a part of it. Oh, they're nuts, man. I grew up with all these people, and their parenting techniques that my parents adopted, not necessarily the best.
No, I don't think so, man.
No.
But what he definitely said was that Bigfoot and alien sightings are a part of the devil's plan in order to destabilize our view of a godly life, that we sit and that we watch Bigfoot. But Bigfoot isn't fake. It's sent here by the devil for us to see it, so that the more Bigfoots we see, right, the more we're willing and apt to listen and be persuaded by the devilry of demons.
So there's no... This is what's so fascinating about really far right religious people and then like really far like witchcraft people. There is a Venn diagram where they just believe in all of the things that are perhaps what some might consider to be make-believe.
He's what I'm saying.
But they just
He's
believe
literally
the same thing. They should just get together and be friends.
He's legitimately saying what I believe, that Bigfoot is an ultra-terrestrial, that it is like a form of energy creature. And it's interesting that he says that, but it's this idea of like, and I like how it's just, man, rhetoric is interesting because you look at it and it's the whole opposite side of the argument, because he says, it will destabilize a religious life. I can't believe the devil uses as his tools, and he says that's bad. But I'm immediately like, awesome. Good. You know, and so it's kind of funny on two different worlds. Like, if I saw Tim Daly, we'd probably have to strangle each other. Like, we would probably have to attack each other right after he tried to fucking kiss me. And I let him kiss me.
Sure.
Because I could show him how good I am at kissing him, and then he'll start crying and shit and be like, you need to leave your family. You need to go to Williamsburg. You need to go to West Hollywood. You need to go live your lifestyle. You know what I mean? And I'll do that for him. I will break him of that. I'll pat his bottom and I'll say how cute he is and how nice he is, just so that he opens up, so he flowers.
Well, I think you'll like that kind of McHale's Navy haircut of yours. It'll make him feel all masculine and tough. And I
what are you
think
talking about? This is the
romance.
tough. I look very tough.
No, I know. I'm not. But
the closer you get to, you could see my stress vein.
Oh. Honestly,
you see my stress vein?
It is pulsating. It's like
very thick.
It's like the intestines in the of the dude in the movie Annihilation, when they're just like roaming all around his chest. But unfortunately, that's near your temple, and it might end up being the shotgun blast to your head.
Whatever it's got to be, man. Whatever ends it.
You know, that is so funny. So that means this Family Research Radio or whatever. I guarantee you, there were hundreds of thousands of parents who sat their children down that evening, and they just regurgitate what they hear on these conservative Christian radio shows or in their books. And I'm sure they just were like, Bigfoot's real, okay? And it's sent here from the devil.
So first of all, they have to be like, whoa, what the fuck?
And then my whole childhood was just like, what are you even talking about? What is happening?
But that's why we became the way we became.
Yes,
it was the same thing. It's like severely Catholic, wanted to be a priest when I was growing up. There's a part of you that I think that when you have been forced to digest that the devil is real, and not only is he real, physically real, like he can show up, is that his commandant is Bigfoot. And that he can send it out. Like he can say, like, there's something about it. It gives you an extra dimension to life. They don't understand that them creating them physicalizing the devil as like the real Sauron or Thanos, to use the new Marvel universe to help our younger people to understand, is that when you when you create him as Thanos, that then he does exist, and they are actually helping people like me who trying to constantly subvert the things that they believe.
Now, isn't there another contingency of thought out there when it comes to Bigfoot, as if he is like a spiritual entity, like a good spirit and stuff like that? Aren't there some folks believe that?
Oh, yeah, they call him the wise man of the mountain. He's also, they mostly, I believe, Sasquatch. I'm actually not sure.
I don't
Can you
know.
actually find out, Titties, do we know, is Sasquatch, I believe it means man of the mountain.
Of course, Travis is with us as well, as always, our main man here.
Ah, yes. The British Columbia, they named the creature by a Salesian variant, meaning the benign-faced one.
Oh, interesting. You know,
like Harry and the Hendersons. You could believe in that face.
great. Oh, my God. Don't even get me going. What's the name of the lead actor on that? Charles Grodin. Now, that guy, Charles Grodin.
Was he Charles Grodin, the lead?
Wasn't
in Harry
Charles
and the Hendersons?
Grodin? Well, he was involved in some movie involving a Sasquatch. I swear to God.
No, you're thinking of Beethoven.
Oh,
with the
that's a
Saint
big
Bernard.
dog. That's a big dog.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a Saint Bernard's in it.
That dog was so awesome.
It's John Lithgow.
John
was
Lithgow.
in Harry and the Yes,
of
Harry and the
course.
Hendersons.
You know, do you remember that audio from way back in the day where this construction site, I don't know where they were, but they drilled and drilled and drilled and drilled and drilled, probably doing some early form of fracking or trying to find some oil or something. And then they started to hear the sounds of hell, supposedly.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. It was in like a Siberia or some shit.
That audio was played in my church when we were growing up as definitive proof of hell. And all this stuff, again, I just screaming, but like, what the hell is going on?
No, it makes you look how much you like Pantera now.
I've always liked Pantera.
That's what I'm saying.
They're cowboys from hell, although I don't know how you keep your hat from not burning, but
that is a cute observation. I don't know how.
Yeah.
I think it's because they are too made of basalt. As I would say, is that the name of their hat. So it's made out of brimstone, which is also funny because the hat has a brim. Isn't it, Kissel? Isn't it funny?
It is funny.
I just feel like it's just very evident of who we are now as people. That this is, we've grown very accustomed to the supernatural and to the idea of evil being real. And it just so happens if you sell me real hard on evil being real, eventually I'm going to find it sexy. And then as a boy, jerking off thinking about all the goth girls that wouldn't even look at me because I had my weird fucking cargo shorts on or whatever shirt that fit from Walmart. You know what I mean?
Nice.
And then it makes you move towards your goals.
The Walmart American Collection. Wonderful stuff.
Yes.
Speaking of Pantera, as we've said before, R.I.P. Vinny. He is now deceased. And then, of course, Dimebag. And I got to say this, and this is what I said after that death when we were at the Rainbow Room, should have been Phil, because Phil is the one who basically killed Dimebag Darrell because he told his audience to go beat him up. And then his audience is so extreme, they think that means shoot him in the face with a shotgun.
But unfortunately, I will put the sort of Games of Thrones-ian, like, fantasy rules in there, where if Dimebag Darrell wanted to live, what he'd have to do is that he'd have to properly defend himself, which means carrying a gun with him at all times on stage.
He's playing the freaking guitar.
Yeah, but if he was like Blaze Foley,
a gun guitar,
whoa,
that would be fun. I mean,
think about that. Or
you
what
have if it goes off when you're pretending that the guitar is an extension of your penis and you're pointing it towards it, and then you kill the whole front row, and
that's what you get, man. That's what you get for fucking sitting front row, man. And those guys would have died being like, that's the most metal concert I've ever been to. If I got shot by fucking, Lars Ulrich's drums, then what would happen? Everybody would be very excited. It would actually probably increase sales.
Yeah, I'd probably find a way to sue you for it. All right, well,
goddamn fucking bitch, man! I watched Some Kind of Monster again. I don't know why I did it. I was cooking in the house, and I just wanted to revisit it. And this is what I'll say. Okay, listen. Every group of content creators have problems, all right?
Yes,
and they have
sure.
personal issues, and they have to work it out. We're still people. Like, yes, James Hetfield does mow his lawn. He does have his life. Billy Corrigan is not a human goblin. Like, he has a wrestling company. It's like, you know what I mean? Like,
I love that wrestling side to Billy Corrigan.
He's so funny. That was the one, like, he did a very funny interview on Joe Rogan. It was very funny. And, he was on the cover of Cat Fancy and all that shit.
Yeah. I love it.
But it's like, if you're metal gods, if you're James Hetfield, you're Metallica, you're a metal fucking to the extreme.
Yeah.
There is just no reason to pop that bubble and allow me to see the petulant boy fighting that they had to do with their therapists and shit. It's bad for them.
And it's not some kind of monster. It is like some kind of like weak mid-40s males. I don't understand. I thought it was going to be a metal documentary.
No.
And I really was going in super jazzed, and then it turned into a therapy session like it was a horrible reality show on MTV or The Surreal Life or something on VH1. And
Surreal Life. Honestly, at least that shit. Yes, it does hurt you forever. But honestly, it's Surreal Life at least is trumped up. With Metallica, you see more of the truly sad side and actually how hard it is to go into relationship maintenance. And it's a thing that people actually should think about in terms of when you get married and all that kind of shit. It's like if you're going to go into couples therapy, know that it's not the sexiest, funnest thing that's ever been.
Yeah, no one's ever there for good reasons. It's never great times that has people go on into couples therapy. But if you need help, go out there and you get that help.
I ought to think it's good to maybe do it when you don't need it so you can check in.
Huh. All right. Well, this is another story. This one comes to us from Delhi. Now, this story is absolutely insane. It's a
very
little
intense.
bit older. Yeah, it's way intense. It's from July 2nd, and I actually had texted Henry the footage. There's footage of what happened here on LiveLeak. This article says it's a scene out of a horror movie. The bodies of 11 members of a Delhi family, 10 of them hanging from an iron mesh in the ceiling inside one room, were found at a residence, and the body of a 77-year-old woman was lying on the floor in another room of the house. Now, there was no forced entry whatsoever, and they were found by Milkman here.
Yeah, he found a milkman, which is like a milkman's like either dream or nightmare. Where it's like, because some milkmen I think are like, because mostly what you hope as a milkman is that you can kind of see like the lady of the house in her panties while you're looking through the
I don't
window.
know if that's true.
I honestly think it's very true. But then the worst option is seeing a dead naked woman. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the 1950s, the milkman. Very nefarious time, the 50s.
Well, according to the Delhi, the Hindustan Times, it was the milk container delivery man.
The milk container, okay.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know either. I hope that's filled with milk and not just they drop off empty milk containers every morning, because that's just kind of a really cruel joke.
Very sad. Do you remember what milk was like? That's all it is.
It used to be held in these here containers. So the cops think this might have been a spiritual thing. This article calls it a godman, which I believe is just a spiritual guru. And there is some suspicion that they were attempting to seek or attain salvation. And there's really no definitive evidence of this other than a couple of notes. And the last handwritten note read, "Using a stool and keeping the hands, eyes, and mouth tied up will help attain salvation." And I have no idea what would drive these people to do this. But evidently, this is a mass suicide, and I've never heard of anything really like this, and I don't really know how they were able to even pull it off. Did the 77-year-old woman, is she the one who removed all the stools? Because they did have their hands tied up. They did have their I believe their eyes were blinded. Did she do that?
I will say, it's already really difficult to get your family all on the same page. I don't imagine what it would be like to get them all to commit suicide.
Oh, you think this is integrated marketing?
This could be. I mean, we have to check to see whether or not their sneakers had Paul Rudd's face on them. Because if that's true, that would be